So the first question I have is about contact, right? It's really important that we are in touch with our students. We let them know right away, and I'm going to have a moment. I have a thought about right away. Um, we let them know as soon as possible what has changed. Hopefully, they've already gotten the message that everything's going to be remote, or almost everything's going to be remote over the next couple of weeks. And I use that word almost, right? Because there are some classes that will continue to be taught in person. It's extremely important that each of us reach out to our students to let them know the status of our individual classes. Yes, my history class, we are going to be remote for the first 2 weeks. If I'm teaching, I think we have, I'm going to guess, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't know the details, but I'm going to guess that our EMT classes will continue to meet in person because those met in person throughout the pandemic. So if I was an EMT instructor, I would say to my students, note, we will continue to meet in person. Your other classes may be remote for the first couple of weeks. So tell them the situation. I would share with them the plan, and I would say, this is 2 weeks. This is what I'm going to have coming up, and then also promise an update. I will let you know as soon as I find out that the situation has changed. And if the situation doesn't change and we actually do come back in 2 weeks, then I would still send them an update a few days before the end of the month. Hey, I'm really excited. We're going to be back in person this week. I'll look forward to seeing you Monday morning at 10 a.m., whatever the time is. So those are the kinds of things that I recommend strongly that you communicate with your students. And then the thing that I want to come back to, and I was a little bit surprised to hear this, but I'm glad that I did. How frequently should we contact our students, especially before the semester starts? Technically, we are not on contract in terms of teaching until Saturday. January 15th is the official start of the spring 22 semester. So, and that's when the semester starts. So our students reasonably would not expect their classes to begin until Saturday, perhaps it's a fully online class. And if those classes were scheduled to meet in person, not until Tuesday or Wednesday, then understandably and reasonably, our students would not expect to have to worry about our classes until then. Now, many of the people in my situation, my colleague coordinators across the district, many of our colleagues here at CRC have already started contacting their students. Hey, students, this is what we're doing. These are, this is what's going on. But I heard from a colleague at a meeting earlier today that they heard from a student who was being frustrated and alarmed by all these messages they were getting from their instructors. And so that's a thing to consider. I don't have an answer for that. I think it's good to inform early and often, but I also get what it feels like to be overwhelmed by messages. And I know in my experience as a DE coordinator, especially when I was serving as Senate president, I know that there were some messages because I got a ton of emails and suddenly they all mattered that I probably missed because of so many messages. So I don't have an answer for that in particular. And when I get to the end of the slide, I'll ask if you guys have any thoughts on that. But that's something to keep in mind with. But at least let them know once. And here would be my minimum suggestion for you. If you're switching from in-person to remote for a couple of weeks, I would let them know by Saturday, because Saturday is when the semester officially starts. You don't have to be doing anything on Saturday. You could say to your students, hey, we're going to be remote. Don't forget. I will post activities or material or whatever, by Tuesday when we were going to meet in person, or by Wednesday when we were going to meet in person. That's what I would do at the minimum, is by that Saturday, is let them know. Okay, so here are the methods. I thought of three that I put on the slide here, and I will demonstrate how those can work inside Canvas. I can't demonstrate the third one yet, but I'll talk about it. So the conversations inbox tool, and then announcements. Conversation is Canvas's really, really, really wimpy version of email. And I mean, if you could take that W in wimpy and like whatever the opposite of capital is, that's what you want that first letter to be, because it is just a terribly shallow email, but it works. And a better reason to use conversations versus email is that in Canvas, any of us, so this is our users and us, we can go in and we can change our notification settings so that if someone sends a conversations message to us as users, that conversation message will be automatically forwarded to the email, whatever email we choose. And by default, every conversations message is sent to the user's Los Rios provided email address. So our students, when they registered and enrolled and managed to make it through all that process, they were told a couple of points along the way, hey, here is your Los Rios Gmail address. This is the official email address where you can receive messages from the district and from your instructors. That email address is attached to their Canvas user account. And then if they go into Canvas, which they can do on their own, and change it to whatever email they prefer, then you as the instructor can trust that they are getting the messages, in the location where you want them to. They're getting the messages in the method that they want to receive them. So I'm going to do a quick demonstration. I'm in a Canvas class, and on the inbox link on global navigation, this is how we access the conversations tool. So that's why I put both those words there. If I go to inbox, I can create a new message. I'll select my class, and it's going to be Canvas Training Spring 22, and I'm going to say to all in the class, we will be remote for the first 2 weeks of the semester. I will let you know more as soon as I do. Please do not come to our classroom Tuesday morning. Keep up with the news in our Canvas class. Sincerely, Professor Beyer. Okay, so Canvas class, right? I'm going to give them a link. And how do I know what the link is? I'm going to open this window and go to this class, and I'm going to copy the URL for the class, right? Remember, it always has someinstitution.instructure.com. And if I go back over here, I'm going to paste the link. Let me make this browser a little bit bigger. So I hope that this doesn't work. Okay. So anyway, here's what I did this, right? The content of my message, I'm sending this will immediately get emailed to all of my students. If they've gone in and changed their email preferences, then they'll still get the message, right? They pick this other address that they want to use. And I'm telling them, here's the news, right? We will be remote. And I give them this link. This is the direct link to the homepage for my course. Don't worry about this word Canvas. I'm actually using a different server right now because I had to in order to have dummy students in it. This actually is going to go to some real students. And I'm going to try to pull up that email too while I can. And but ours again will say lrccd.instructure.com/courses/some number. And that is your specific course. So I will hit send here. Oh, incipient's invalid. What? Oh, wait a minute. Aren't there people in this class? Yes, there are people. They have email addresses. They've already registered. So Canvas Instructure, they actually have a free server that anyone in the world can go and log into, get a user account. It's a marketing tool for them. It's a fully functioning version of Canvas. That's what I'm using because those aren't real students. Those are all dummy people that I made up. And I'll just send it to myself then. That's fine. Oh. You know why? I haven't published the course yet. Okay, boom. What did I forget to do? I forgot to publish the course. Again, my mistake is your opportunity to learn. If you don't publish the course, you can't do the stuff. So publish. Okay, now this will work. And I'm going to copy this text just in case I have to. In fact, I'm going to try this again. So compose a new message. I love it when I make a mistake and I can figure out the answer. Canvas, I want everyone. We will be remote for 2 weeks. Okay, there it goes. Whew. All right. Now, let's see if I can get that message. Okay, it hasn't come through yet, but my students just received an email, right? Again, saying that I sent that message, getting that message. So that was one tool inside Canvas. The other tool is announcements. And this I like better than conversations for a couple of reasons. Well, actually, for one reason, it's because it keeps a message, it keeps a record of the message in this location, and I can use the rich content editor in announcements, which allows for formatting. So if I go back to that, I didn't save this when I did the message. If I go into a message, and let's just reply to the student right here or forward. When you're composing a message inside the conversations tool in Canvas, this is only plain text. You can't embed images or videos. You can attach files. You can add a recording that you make, or you can upload a video and attach it, but there's no formatting here. There's none of that stuff. Whereas if I do an announcements, I'll have formatting. And like conversations messages, announcements are by default emailed to users enrolled in the course. So that's the thing that they share in common. And the announcements has two benefits. It has the rich content editor, as well as the fact that all the announcements are going to be kept here in the course, so that I have easy access to the messages I've sent. So let's do that in announcements too. Create an announcement. I'll say, we will be remote for 2 weeks. And I will paste what I just copied. And then when I hit enter, boom, it recognized it as, oh, now it's an announcement, so they'll be inside Canvas when they click on that link. But I can also add an image if I want to. And actually, let's see if I have some user images here on this server. There we go. There's a picture of me. And I'm not going to let this opportunity go without showing you how to quickly add alt text to an image. Alt text is what a person using a screen reader will hear if they're looking at this page by listening to a screen reader software. And this is part of meeting our obligations to make sure that our material is available to all of our students. So I'll click on the image. I'll say image options. The alt text is up here. I'm going to say what? I'm going to say Professor Beyer. Click done. I'll click save. And I've just emailed all my students, letting them know that we're remote. So that's the second way within Canvas that we can communicate with our students immediately. The third option you'll see listed here is a tool called Pronto. Pronto is like social media for a Canvas class. We have an opportunity to pilot Pronto this semester, and it's going to be turned on hopefully tomorrow morning. We've been implementing it this week. I did a Pronto workshop yesterday, and I wish I could show it to you right now. I can't because it hasn't yet been installed. Please email me if you want to learn more about Pronto, and I've got an email that has information from yesterday's workshop, including a recording where there is demonstration, and I've created a Canvas course where those of us using Pronto will be able to, well, actually use Pronto with each other at the same time that we might be using it with our students. So let me pause there and see if there are any questions or comments about contacting students over those first couple of weeks. Ooh, I've got messages in the chat. Let me read through those. Okay, thanks, Linda. Think reassuring students that there's nothing that they have to do in Canvas is be clear with students that they're not behind if they don't do anything before the official start date of the course. Thank you, Linda. That's a great idea. So this actually is what I do in my classes. I teach fully online. My official class starts Saturday. My class is also asynchronous, so I never meet like we're meeting right now at the same time online. What I do is on Thursday evening, oh, that's tonight. Thursday evening, I'm going to publish my course, and I have an announcement that is scheduled to be published after I publish my course. And the announcement basically says to students, I'm excited about being your instructor. We start officially on Saturday. Canvas is published right now, so what you can do right now is take a look at the syllabus. Here's some information about being a successful online student. Here's information about the College and Life Skills 101 class that our colleagues at CRC created. Oh, and by the way, students, we won't start officially until Saturday. That's when your activities will be available. So that way I'm doing what I hope is best for my students and letting them know, just before the semester starts, reminding them that they're enrolled in the class, that they'll see the class that they can go into Canvas right now and see the class, and that we don't officially start until Saturday. Matt asks, let's see, so let's say it was Cheryl. We need to change the course from on-ground to online. If you mean the switch that's inside Canvas, so let me go back into this class here. On the settings page in Canvas, somewhere in here is a mode format, right? If that's what you mean, this means nothing. No one sees this. I don't know why this is here. This is an old thing from years ago. Our students will know the mode of instruction by by our scheduled classes, and I don't think they see this at all when they are when they're in the class. And then when using the email, let's see, is there an advantage to using Canvas to email versus contact students? Yeah, Matt, that's a great question. Yes, because the contact students page, I don't know, and my information may be old on this because I've never used that except to email students when I'm not going to let them in my class, like I did this semester, because we're trying to get our classes filled. You're not getting in my class, but look, there's all these other classes that are open. That's the message I sent. So I did not discourage enrollment. My understanding is that system has a hard time. It's hard for students to change their email preference in their communication with those videos. They've always been able to go into Gmail and change, add a forwarding address there. But I don't know if I'm incorrect on that. Because I interact so much with students via Canvas, I just assume that they're doing that there anyway.
I can see whether the students are using their personal emails or not. And typically it's like 20 to 30% of students choose to do that.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. Then perhaps maybe you might want to do it both ways, especially in an emergency situation like we have right now.
So Greg, if I could get a clarification, I'm sorry I came in late from a dental appointment. But to connect with them with email, I've got my Canvas opened. Through Canvas, I don't see Connect or whatever you called it. So do we do this discussion?
No, it's the inbox.
Inbox?
The inbox link on global navigation.
Okay, got it.
And right, and there's a composement up there. Canvas is yeah, you're welcome. Canvas is designed, and it looks like our system is getting that way too. So I really appreciate learning about that. Canvas is designed to be method agnostic as far as how the recipient receives the message, right? I don't want to track down all my students' personal email addresses. I also don't like it when I get messages from students that are from some random email address, right? Our personal email addresses don't often reflect our names. And so Canvas kind of takes care of that. There's another advantage, and I think that this was, thank Vera for sharing that. Yes, the other advantage of using the Canvas messages is if you get an email from a student, and all my Canvas inbox messages go straight to my email, the subject line includes the course. So you know for sure that is that student enrolled in that course. So thanks for answering that. Okay. Any other questions on contact? Okay. Look for big announcements about Pronto when it's available. It's a really cool tool. I'll share a little neat thing about it is that for our students for whom English is not their first language, Pronto will automatically translate any text messages into just about any language, which is great for students for communicating with each other and with our professors. I don't know if Klingon is an example, however, is an option, which I wouldn't use it, but I think it would be cool. In case you didn't know, Klingon is an option for YouTube captions. Okay, all right. Let me do my stop and